a lot of mights and ifs and that. What we're really talking about is stress, stress-informed care. How can we deal with students under stress? How can we deal with situations of crisis and stress? So the first thing is to talk about trauma. And I want to say that trauma, the definition of trauma is an uncomfortable experience that triggers some kind of a flight-fight response, a stress reaction. What happens for all of us, and I'm going to explain a little bit about the brain in this process. Excuse me, what happens for all of us when we are in a position where we feel like something is being threatened or we're in danger, we have two ways of responding, fight or flight. That comes from the early person as the development of human beings, that when they felt like they were in danger, they were either ready to fight and defend themselves or they were ready to run from whatever was threatening them. And so we have that natural instinctual part of us that is a fight-flight response when we feel like we're in danger. A trauma is an experience from the past that sticks in our mind and can create a reaction today. So sometimes we're not even sure of what that past experience is in our head. We aren't even totally conscious of the fact that it's there, but we will become aware of the emotional reaction that it triggers. And so oftentimes we'll just, like, what's going on here? What am I experiencing? And that can be from a previous experience. It can and usually does influence our relationships and our emotional responses, and we all have them. If you were in an automobile accident on the 405 freeway, and the police officer pulled you over and started giving you a really hard time, you know, there was a response, law enforcement response, and they started giving you a really hard time. Well, even if they don't give you a really hard time, you're going to have a memory of that portion of the 405 freeway every time you travel down the 405. That's what I'm talking about. It sticks in your head. It could be an intersection. It can be a person. It could be a person that looks like a previous person. It can be an emotion that gets triggered. You know, an example for me is I had a terrible, terrible 5th grade teacher. She was really mean. She'd make us go up on the board and do math problems, and if we got them wrong, it was not unusual for her to hit somebody with a ruler as punishment. I never got hit. I don't know why, because I didn't usually get them right. But I have anxiety every time I do math problems attached to my 5th grade math year. You know, it's like suddenly my brain is like, you know, it's not working correctly. And it took me years to finally put those two things together, that it's Miss Fulton. 5th grade. I can tell you what dress she was wearing. I can tell you the classroom, what it looked like. I can tell you what my friend who got hit with the ruler looked like. Her name was Connie. So I have that emotional reaction to anything that reminds me of that really terrifying for me experience in the 5th grade. That's a trauma. That's a stress reaction. It's a stress experience. So what happens for us is that we start to feel powerless when we're in a situation like that. We don't feel like we have control over what's happening to us and around us. We start to feel less than. We start to feel like we're just not adequate enough to do what we need to do to accomplish whatever tasks is before us.